What do you say, boys and girls? This is Bobby Blitz from Overkill. That's right, and you are listening to the FANTASM Podcast.
Phantasm.
Maximum terror.
That's your target audience, baby!
Phantasm.
And you know something? I sort of enjoyed it.
Phantasm.
Sell the metal! Sell the metal! Sell the metal! Sell the metal!
Phantasm.
Chatting about Scorched.
I know Phantasm.
Yeah. Yeah, Dee Dee did it like a month ago with me, so.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That was in my schedule. That's right. It was in my schedule.
It was awesome because it's gotten a lot of views. He shared it, so tell him thank you.
Oh, he's an interesting person.
I love you guys.
People ask me, how do you get along with, you guys get along for so long? I say, well, that's because Dee Dee still doesn't speak English yet.
It was a fun interview, so I thought it was fun that I get to chat with you about Scorched. It's so good, and I'm just a huge fan of the band. I've been a fan since I was a kid, and I just love the band. And you guys have never put a bad album out. You're all the best thrash band on the planet. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate that, man. I mean, I think as soon as you press play, you hear that we still enjoy doing what we do.
I was telling him, just to lead off with you, I mean, every record, I mean, there's never been a record where I was like, oh, I never have to worry about Overkill. I told Dee Dee this, and same to you. I can't thank you guys enough for all the great music all these years. I never have to worry about it. It's always, it's like, oh, there's a new Overkill record. Good. It's going to be great. So. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, boy, that's great. I always used to say when somebody would say, yeah, I like the record, I think it's pretty good. I'm like, well, all the stuff that you like on it, that's what I wrote. All the stuff that you don't like on it, that's what Dee Dee wrote.
So, with Scorched, and I asked Dee Dee, some music stuff about it. I'll ask you, stuff about it as well, lyrically or vocally or anything you want to throw in on it. Was there anything different at this point? Is it fun to go in and maybe do a couple of different things differently, or do you like to just stick to the same stuff, or?
Well, sure. From my perspective, it has to progress to some level. You don't always succeed in that progression, but you start out, you don't take the safe route.
Right.
No matter what record it is, I think that, to be able to do 20 records in the first place is to always aspire somewhere to be better.
Absolutely.
Than you were on the record prior, anytime I talk to somebody who says, yeah, I like you guys in the early days, but, you're kind of a one-trick pony, I'm going, you're not listening.
Yeah.
Sorry. I really don't care if you don't like us, but this is not a one-trick pony. It hasn't been for a very, very long fucking time. So I think it's about really just pushing whatever boundaries, taking the opportunity and squeezing it for more. And in this particular case, having the pandemic surround it gave me specifically that much more time to work on it.
It's such a great album. Now, did you all start the whole ride? And I asked Dee Dee some of this, but I want to ask you some similar stuff if it's okay. Did you... So during the pandemic, it's horrible, obviously, for everybody. I lost my dad, actually, during it to COVID. But was it good to have that time to work on Scorched, or for you, creatively?
For me, yeah, of course. We shut down on our last show was Charlotte, North Carolina. It was March 12th, 2020. I actually have it in the center section of lyrics of Fever. 3/12/20 all shut down.
So, oh, wow.
But it was that was it. And that was the last bit of normality we knew. I think lot. So one of Derek's friends came up and set up a big brisket barbecue for us down at a place called the Phil.
Oh, yeah.
It was fucking awesome. And now we're heading home, and the next thing I know, I'm heading home, and life had changed. It was like, the dog had passed before I left, and my wife had divorced me. I'm not looking for a fucking violin solo here, but
No, that's awful.
And now the pandemic, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, this fucking blows.
Right.
But in retrospect, when I look back on it, I always had a go-to place, no matter what. If I was trying to figure out how to work or make money or record shit, I always had that fucking demo to work on.
Right.
And it was, boy, talk about a light in the dark. I was like, man, that is just fucking awesome. And I think somewhere that, after I rewrote my parts over and over again, that somewhere it actually took on the personality of Overkill 20 records deep into their career. And, it's a shot in the head, but still has a positive energy to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was going to tell you, I told Dee Dee this, you all were the last show that I saw. Like, I haven't been to a concert since. I saw you guys down in Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was it. That was it.
That was the 11th.
Yep. I live in Florida, but I was up visiting my mother. My mother's from there. And went to the show. And great show, by the way, as always. And that was it. Everything just gets, the world presses the pause button. It was crazy. But for you, with all the other stuff, it sounds like you had all kinds of craziness going on. You brought so much. I told Dee Dee, and I wanted to tell you this, vocally, you really knocked this out of the park. Scorched is just, it's one of, not that you've had a bad performance, but it's, I just wanted to share that with you, because I told Dee, I was like, it's incredible.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, that's cool to say. I mean, it's also kind of cool you experienced kind of the last of that normality with the rest of us. So, if your last show was an Overkill show on the 11th, and then this came out, April 14th, 3 years later,
yep.
3+ years later, you kind of went on that journey with us with regard to new material, or at least the weight of it.
Absolutely.
So, but the vocal end of it, there's a couple of things, that were different. And it's like I said earlier, you aspire to be better. And it has aggression to it, but there was a relaxed, a big part of it, I relaxed. And it doesn't come across as lethargic, but it comes across as very authoritative with relaxing. And it gave me the opportunity to twist and turn around the melodies that Dee Dee had, to write counter melodies to his riffs or to Dave's leads.
Right.
So I think it's somewhere in there, understanding it over that amount of time made it more unified with regard to vocals versus music. And the only other thing I can remember, and I told Dee Dee this, because he said something to me about the vocals too, and said I just changed the position in my mouth. I put my voice in a lot of the songs into the roof of my mouth, and it made a bigger difference than putting them in the back of my mouth, where I had to yell harder to get them out of my mouth.
Right.
I relaxed when they were just in the roof of my mouth and just roll it out. And I mean, songs like Fever, even the heavy part are like that, but the light part, for instance, that's just a different procedure. So again, I aspired to be better in it, or at least be different, and I think it worked.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredible. So the first track, Scorched, what a great way to kick an Overkill album off. You always deliver, as I said before. Just facts. You guys always do. With this one, was it, because Dee Dee kind of went through with this with you, was that a later one written, the album track, or was that an earlier one written, Scorched?
Yeah, it was when I got the demo, I think that's the first thing he did. He had some background vocals that he had dropped in there just as an idea. So I got 2 versions of the song, and it sounded like, it almost sounded like Thunderstruck from AC/DC to me.
Awesome.
And I was like, God, this fucking thing is all over the map. I kept thinking, I'm like, you got this fucking, 1980s old school Iron Maiden guitar intro, Judas Priest feel that goes into a thrash song that builds and builds, and these background vocals. I didn't know what the fuck to do with it. And I learned to cook a little better during the pandemic, and I was making, I don't know what, one of the things I learned, and it just came out of my mouth, that chorus, exactly how it's recorded. And I got rid of those AC/DC background vocals and just went with it. So it was a hard song to write, I think, because it was already suggested to me about the direction that maybe it should go vocally.
Right.
But I just tried to put it out of my head and then went with it. And I agree with you. It's a good, hey, we're here kind of a thing. We're back. Sure, shit's changed, but it doesn't mean that we do. This is a new offering, and I think that we accomplished that on the opener.
Oh, it's incredible. What about Going Home? What can you say about that one?
About which one?
Going Home.
This one to me was one of the things that he did on this with regard to writing was he did the intro in a lot of them. It's not just an introduction to where it's an intro musically that changes before the verses come in.
Right.
And, I noticed it in this. I noticed it in Scorched. I noticed it in Won't Be Coming Back. I mean, even The Surgeon with that, that bass intro.
Oh, yeah.
Just, leads him into it, and then he tears it up like he's hitting a hood of a car with a rubber hammer. He's just got that I'm here kind of vibe. And I think when he sets mood like that, it gives me the opportunity not to overthink it, but it just kind of takes me somewhere. And I realized that with Going Home, that that melody would be the key to this song. That for sure it would be heavy and be punchy, but it was because of that intro, it led me into melody with regard to my parts of the song. And that's the key, is that, the reason Didi and I work together well is that I listen to what he plays, and I don't just listen to where I'm supposed to sing. I listen to the whole song until I can hum every part of the song in my head, and then I can marry something to what he has there already.
Right.
If I can marry a vocal line to that, and I think that this is a great example of that, because the song came out. I never thought this song was going to come out as good as it did, and I think it came out twice to three times as good as I originally anticipated.
It's incredible. It really is. And the Surgeon, you mentioned that one. What can you talk about that one? What a great track.
Well, I think that's an Overkill Thrash template. That's something we've been doing since the Feel the Fire record, but it's always morphed from year to year into something different, bigger, wider, more streamlined, more melodic, less melodic. It's always something that we recognize in ourselves before you even hear the track. If somebody says Overkill 101, I immediately think Hammerhead or The Surgeon.
Right.
So the point is that it still has to be different. It can't be Hammerhead. It has to be Hammerhead circa 2023, which means that it's a distant relative, but still has the same type of results. This was one of those, vocally, one of the things, especially in the chorus, where I placed the voice in a different spot in my mouth, and it got that effect. It's not relaxed, but it's authoritative. It's that authoritative. I don't have to yell to get my point across.
Oh, that's incredible. What about Twist of the Wick?
One of the hardest songs for me to do, and it doesn't seem like it should be. It seems like it should be right in my wheelhouse. I had the pre-chorus and the chorus done way before anything else, and I love the fact that there was that melody in there. But I was running through so many different things with the verse, and I'd gotten to the point where I was exactly the opposite of what I told you about Going Home, knowing the song and humming it. I was just working on sections in a studio with a guy I used named Johnny Rod, and I finally nailed it, and I said, I think I got it, and it's what we have on there right now, and it married real well with the melody in the pre-chorus and the chorus, and I said, play the whole thing through, and he put it on, and he left the room. I'm just sitting there, and it gets to the center section. I hear those monks, that like male choir singing. And I'm like, he comes back in and I'm like, what the fuck is this? He goes, Dee said that. So I got so wound up in that little section that he and Derek and I think Michael Romeo put that together, and I was like, oh my God, the nuances on this are just so cool. That you can have something so different in it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I think that's a great song of contrast with regard to those monks versus the verse, versus the melodic chorus and pre-chorus, and Jason Bittner, blast beat city almost in some spots.
Oh, yeah, it's great. What about Wicked Place?
Well, I was singing songs like this in the shower when I was a kid. This is like, this is from the old school of Sabbath, Fog Hat on the Blue Meth from Walter White.
Right.
It's like, that's the beauty of this, that this is just a swing back and forth. And it's probably more like the shit I was cut from. Nobody was cut from Thrash. Thrash kind of came about. The landscape changed with Kill 'Em All, and there was many to follow after that. But the stuff that got me going early on were, the Sabbath records, Supernog, or, Into the Void.
Sure.
Or some of the Fog Hat shit, or, God, I even listen to Status Quo, and they would always swing back and forth. So again, this was something that was in my psyche, lyrically and vocally. But obviously you just don't know it until you're doing it. And then when you get the song finished, you go, God, it just reminds me of somewhere I've been before. And that place is obviously youth. Incredible.
Yeah, I really like that one. I think that's a really good track.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites too, because it's a 2023 version of it. It's not just, it's not a rehash kind of an approach to something. And I love the fact that there's some diversity on this record, where you can go into that, you come out of Twisted the Wicked to Wicked Place, and it's like, my God, you just thrash their brains out in this one part. Jason's playing at, Mach 10, and then we slow it down into this groove.
Right.
It makes the hills and valleys higher and lower,
It's incredible. Have y'all done Wicked Place live?
Oh, we do it live, yeah. It's been in the set for the whole European tour. It looks like we'll be heading out in the U.S. somewhere around the 13th of July, or actually the 13th is the first day.
That's awesome.
We will be in Florida before the end of that tour. So I think before the end of July, we'll be somewhere Orlando, Fort Lauderdale too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Incredible. I'll have to be up for that. What about Won't Be Coming Back?
Well, again, another intro, it was, and people have said it before. I kind of heard that Sabbath-esque, Ronnie Dio version in the intro. It's more like what he sings over in Heaven and Hell, but I just heard that kind of a feel to it. And when Dave clicked in with the guitar, it kind of brought me back to, the late 90s when we did Necroshine, and I was just singing over the top of a guitar riff,
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool, but it became something a lot different than it was intended to be originally. And I think it became more of a traditional type heavy metal song between the riffs Dee put together, the little pieces Dave added, and what I added vocally.
Incredible. What about Fever?
Well, this was obviously the big, especially I keep saying that. It's the one of the harder ones because of the difference in the parts, one being super mellow and moody, and
right.
Jason's playing bongos in there, and all sorts of little sound effects are going on. And then coming into that big sledgehammer riff, it was tuned down to an A. I would shake Grandma's dishes in the china cabinet when I put it on loud enough here. But it was, it was something that we've always experimented with in the past, was, that eclectic vibe of going from something mellow to something that heavy. And I think, the key is just about making it kind of seamless between the two. I had a hard time with, I tried to be Mr. Scary with the vocals, and it just wasn't working. And I eventually just relaxed and just opened my mouth and let it happen. And it just came out. It was I think I was actually singing a real slow version of Over the Mountain to it.
Oh, wow.
And then it just kind of started coming together, and I could feel that, kind of early Ozzy Blizzard, diary kind of a vibe coming out, and it was just like, wow, that's kind of cool there, because it doesn't sound forced, whereas all the other shit that I did for it sounded forced. So it was one of the tunes that took me the longest to actually complete.
I think it's my favorite track on the record.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I love it.
For sure the most different. For sure the most different. I love that heavy part. And then the swing into that blues section in the center, that bluesy riff. It almost reminiscent of Wicked Place, kind of a vibe where you actually feel it swinging back and forth.
Yeah, it's killer. What about Harder They Fall?
Well, that's a big Thrash number. With the old gang vocals and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't even sure about those gang vocals. I was looking for something else, and I know Dee Dee and Derek were getting together because, it wasn't like we could all get together in some place, and I was still recording some stuff, and he goes, what I'll do is I'll just record them anyway, and I'll send them to you while we're doing it, and we'll see what we think. And we were both listening to it, and we're like, something, just keep it, because we might be able to use it for the mix. But sure. I think they become a real standout on it. Derek's background vocals, even earlier on, he sings alone in Surgeon. I think the background vocals are well placed, but this is the one that, with that thrashy kind of approach to the whole thing, just as, just especially coming out of Fever, is just a great dynamic between the two.
Yeah, it's killer. What about Know Her Name?
Well, everything's mock titled when it first comes in, and this one was mock titled Sabbath.
Oh, okay.
And I was listening to it. Oh, man, this sounds like Symptom of the Universe. Yeah.
Right.
So, So, I wanted to do something different with it. So I kind of took that chorus and made it a little bit more melodic. I didn't sing within what's called the box. Sing a line, sing a line, sing a line, rhyme a line, sing a line, rhyme a line, all the same. I just kind of sang over the top of the whole piece, which I think made it different, made it interesting. Not one of my favorite songs on the record, but still something I think it's really interesting, especially when you get to the center, when those guys go into that bass groove kind of a thing. Uh-huh. It almost becomes this proggy kind of a centerpiece, between Dee Dee and Jason, and then Dave coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Right before the... Yeah.
And then the final track, Bag of Bones.
Well, probably, the one outstanding on the record with regard to outstanding in the cold. I heard that was my title last one, and I was like, you wrote this last? I said, why is 110 and why is one last one? He goes, last one because it has to be last in the sequencing, because it's just like nothing else on the record. It's just something that I wanted to do because it was fun.
Right.
I listened to it and I said, it is fun, and it's fun because of the groove. So I tried to, again, marry that, with some, I'm not going to say goofy lyrics, but more so just have a good time with the whole thing, throw some harmonies in there, make it a sing-along kind of a groove tune. I think it kind of worked to add one more dimension to the record, and not just have a two-dimensional record, but again, have a 3 or 4-dimensional record.
It's incredible. The artwork with you guys is always incredible. Tell us about the artwork for Scorched. I just love it.
Well, the title came... The artwork was started before the title came.
Oh, okay.
So when the song Scorched happened, and these guys really liked it, we were going back and forth, should it be Scorched or Twist of the Wind? What would be a better title? And I think I was outvoted 4-1. They all wanted Scorched. But Travis Smith had been working on this. We had given him some ideas, some guidance with regard to what we wanted. We had the snake swallowing itself, that type of a approach.
Yes.
He came up with this feeling of conflict where the two pieces were looking at each other, the two subjects on the front of it, the two skulls. where it comes across as conflict, or is it, is a conflict, or let's get the fuck out of here, the place is coming up, But once the title Scorched was decided upon, he went after it with, that motif, started adding the flames. And I thought to myself, how weird is that, that we did Feel the Fire, 20 records ago, which was a fire type motif.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously a real fire. And this one having something similar. But I was actually okay with that. I was thinking, if you're going to rip yourself off, do it 20 records later, not like, not from records later. So I'm really happy with this stuff. He's always ahead of the game for us. He puts in so much. His art has become better and better as time goes on. I mean, more realistic to actual, paintings as opposed to digital art, which I really like about it. I'm going to get a big blow up of it done and put it under glass because I think he did an exceptional job on this cover. And it's one of those things, where you kind of look at it and then you hear the record, you go, that actually goes together. That actually works. So I think it really represents what's behind that cover in the music.
I was telling Dee Dee, I'll tell you the same thing. Scorched is a great title for not only a song, but an album too. I don't know if anybody's ever, it's beautiful. Whoever came up with that, you guys are genius. It's great.
Well, that's my title for the song, but they chose it for the record.
I think it's brilliant.
We'll give it to them.
Brilliant.
To the boys. One for the boys.
And look, I know you're a big hockey fan. And now my team is playing the team that eliminated your team.
Oh, you're a Canes fan, huh?
No, I'm a Panthers fan.
Well, they didn't eliminate us.
No, I know. I'm saying I'm hoping my team gets rid of the Canes because they got rid of the Devils.
Oh, shit. Okay, I get it now.
I'm paying you some love.
You fucking guys are playing with house money. Let me tell you. I mean, I went to bed last night. I was like, I can't watch this. I can't keep watching this. I went to bed after the second overtime. I'm like, it's midnight. I can't keep watching. And it was, and Kachuk scored with like 13 seconds left in the fourth overtime or something, right?
That's it.
Unbelievable. Man, I was just thinking, I was reading the recap this morning, and I was like, this fucking guy, because who did he say? I want to come, he was in Calgary.
Yep.
I want to come to Florida.
Yep.
And they said only if Huberdeau goes to Calgary. And Calgary was really supposed to be something this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, man, did fucking Kachuk see that fucking far in advance? Man, what a hockey player. Unbelievable.
His dad was a beast.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was never a Blues fan, but my God. I think he played for the Sharks and Coyotes, too. Is that right, Bobby, I think?
I couldn't tell you that. I know it was a Blues. It was in St. Louis.
Yep.
I couldn't tell you that. But it was, man, what a fucking... Both of these Kachuk brothers are unbelievable.
Oh yeah, his brother on the Senators is unreal.
They got such a set of brass balls on them. It's you can't believe it. You know you're going to get hit. You know they're going to score.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. The thing that I couldn't believe they knocked out Boston. I was blown away because Boston had us eliminated and we came back and beat them.
It's so weird about the President's Trophy, though, isn't it? I mean,
it is cursed as shit.
Wait, did Colorado win the President's Trophy last year?
No, the last team to win the President's Trophy that won the Cup was Chicago in like 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
No, they didn't. And smartly, because... I'm trying to think. No, actually, you're going to get a kick out. The Panthers won it last year because we beat the Capitals and then the Lightning beat us.
Oh, that's when you had that, when Quenneville got sent, right? Was that the year Quenneville got sent out?
Right, over the whole, yep.
The year before that.
You got it. And Andrew Burnett.
I couldn't believe that.
Burnett was our coach last year, who used to play for the Avalanche back in the day, and yeah. So yeah, that we won the President's Trophy, beat the Capitals, and then got railed by the Lightning. So
we picked up Burnett as an associate coach. They don't even call him an assistant; they call him associate coach for Lindy Ruff in New Jersey.
Nice.
And everybody thought that. Well, and they didn't think it. They knew that Lindy Ruff's contract was up at the end of this year. Burnett was just going to slide over.
Oh wow!
After the year that Ruff had, they just re-extended him, and they think that Burnett might even end up with the Rangers, which would be a fucking shame because it would be a waste of great talent.
Ruff, man, I always thought he was good when he was. I'm not a Sabres guy, but God, he was always good when he coached them. And didn't he coached Dallas too a long time ago, didn't he?
Yeah, he was Dallas coach too.
Yeah,
right before. The Hitchcock, right before Hitchcock.
Yeah, Ken, yep. But I tell you, it's at this point, and you're right, we're playing with house money. We fleeced Calgary. We got Tkachuk for nothing. And, we'll see what happens. I mean, shit. This is the first time we've been this far in the playoffs since we got to the finals against Colorado in '96. So, but man, I wanted to tell you, the Devils are a lights-out, young, powerful team. I think
they're gonna be knocking on the door for the next decade, probably.
Oh my God, y'all have drafted so well for so long.
They still have the number 2 prospect pool. I don't know who number 1 is, but we have number 2 still. I mean, we have this guy Simone Nemec.
Yeah,
who was our first round last year.
Oh yeah,
Luke Hughes just played. Seamus Casey, I think. Is it Seamus Casey?
Yeah.
Another defenseman. I mean, they're just full of blue liners and wingers right now. So,
loaded, absolutely loaded, dude. Amazing. Have a great weekend.
Phantasm.
And you know something? I sort of enjoyed it.